I'm giving pertinent details when we came back. I'm joined now by Janet Amid. She is an astrologer, and she's going to do my chart, which is why I was giving her all these details. She was asking me my husband's name and birthday, which is very interesting because it was yesterday.
Oh, yay.
He turned
That's right.
44 years old yesterday. We made a little bit of fun of him because he's an old man. That's what I like to tell him. Yes, he's a couple years older than me, so, you know, I like to give him a hard time a little bit about his age. So Joe turned 44 years old yesterday. Tell me what an astrologer does.
Well, with astrology, we work with the planets and the stars to kind of indicate what is happening in your past, your present, and your future. And according to astrology, we need your month, day, and year, and your time of birth. The time of birth is really important because what that does is that gives us specifics. Because the center of the earth is Greenwich Mean Time. So we take that and we add 5 hours, 3 hours, whatever, according to the time you were born. So we draw up a chart, and the astrological chart will look something like it's like this. This is what a chart is. And so what it does is it kind of explains where all the energies are in your chart. And so let's say you have quite a few planets in the first house that rules your strong personality, very strong personality. 12th house means behind the scenes. 8th house is money. 7th house is partnerships. So if you're someone who doesn't have anything in your partnership house, you wouldn't be very partnership oriented. But yet as a human being, as a person, you would crave that. So astrology is basically, I always say it's the key to the universe. My father was an astrologer. We go back 12 generations, if not more. And so I learned astrology at a very young age, at the age of 5. So it's become sort of second nature to me. But the planets are very important to understand how they fall into place. Like if you say, well, I'm an Aquarian, which is what you are, which is a sign of humanity. It's a sign of humanitarian. You're very giving of yourself to others. And the Aquarians are usually very, I would say, easygoing people. They're probably one of the most friendly signs of the zodiac because they're just really kind of like amicable. They're just, you know, and they're malleable. But the astrological part with your time of birth and everything would show where all these planets fall into fruition. So when you look at your chart, you're born, you know, February 2nd, or 7th.
Yes.
February 7th. So we would look at your chart and I go through my book, which is called an ephemeris, and that's the American ephemeris, and I'll go into my book, and I'll look at this, and I'll say, okay, Charity, you're born under the sign of Aquarius. Your moon is in the sign of Aries. You have very strong emotions because the moon travels every 2.5 days. On the day you were born, the moon sign fell into the sign of Aries. So that gives a strong sense of determination. You're a fighter, you're feisty.
A little bit.
You learn by experience. Well, based on your time of birth, that could soften that too. Let's say you're a fighter, but then you have your planets behind the scenes. A fighter in the sense of if it's an important cause, if it's relating to your children, family, it has to be important to you. Otherwise, you pick your battles no matter what. But the planets, with your moon sign in Aries, it would indicate strong emotion, very strong feelings. I'm passionate about whatever you do, whether it's TV, whether it's your children, whether it's, you know, cooking an amazing dinner, you are passionate about anything you do. And you also have a tendency to be very dependent with anything you do too. A little anxious sometimes because Saturn, the planet of stability and structure, is opposite your Mars. So that creates a sense of little anxiousness. So when you have a lot going on, you know, it's almost like you have to get yourself grounded and centered.
I am laughing because you're just like dead on talking about me. That's what's so funny to me is that it's so
it's interesting.
It is
and
very
that's even without your time of birth. That's even without. Yeah, and your husband, he's
a train wreck. Can we just call him a train wreck?
He's a great guy.
I can only say that because he's at work right now. He has no idea.
I love his heart. Love his heart. He has an amazing heart. Strong tie to his mother. There's some kind of influence there.
Oh my gosh, you think?
And he's a workaholic, I might say too.
Yes, that's true.
But anyway, he's a good guy.
That is so interesting to me. So if somebody really, it seems to me that this would be a good thing for somebody to do to kind of perhaps decide maybe on a career or if they're struggling a little bit and deciding whether or not they're going to change what they want to do. This could maybe give them a path.
Or partnerships. Most of the time people come into my office and they'll say, I'm getting married in 2 weeks. What do you think? And I'll look at the chart and I'll say, oh my goodness, please, you know, I don't tell them, I never tell them not to get married. I'll say, these are the things you're going to look for in the relationship. These are the pitfalls. These are the good aspects and that sort of thing. So when you look at a chart, you're putting pieces of the puzzle together. That has to do with a career. Does this career fit you? Does it not? And also how to invest money. What's the best time to do that? We don't want to ever do that on a void of course moon. Void of course moon means when the moon and the planets, there's no aspect going on whatsoever. So there's no connection. There's a disconnect. So we always have to, you know, I have to always advise people at the best times to do things. And it's really kind of like not living your life by astrology, but using it as a key or some sort of a little bit of it's almost like a roadmap. Just knowing the right direction to take. And so it's kind of interesting to look at that.
It is very interesting, and I do appreciate what you just said, not living your life by it, because I have heard people say before, well, I can't do this because it's not.
No.
You don't want people to live like that, do you?
I am not into codependency or enabling. I will tell I'll have people say, I'll have clients call me up and say, well, I can't go on vacation until you tell me it's a good time. I'll say, go on vacation.
Yes.
Enjoy yourself. You know, but it's sometimes the best times and days to do things. There are, like Mercury retrograde, you hear that often. Mercury rules communication. When in retrograde, it's not the best time to make huge decisions. That's the middle of January coming up 2015 through the middle of February. It's a time that people need to lay low before making huge decisions. But at the same time, if it's something pertinent or important, you make a decision. You do what you have to do. It's part of life and it's part of following in the flow. So I definitely feel that my father always said the free will is a higher law of the universe. I believe that strongly. So you use your own free will to do whatever you need to do, but use it as a little bit of a guideline. And I say a little bit of a guideline.
Well, if people want to email you, it's just janetamid@aol.com.
Yes, absolutely.
Or you can check her out on her website. Give her a call today so that you can get your roadmap. We'll be right back. She's dead on. It's hilarious to me. I'm going to take a little heat about how dead on she was on me. We'll be right back on Better Living.